Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jamie, and today we're gonna make this adorable little gnome using mostly Dollar Tree items. So what you're gonna need is a package of socks. I like the men's socks because they're a little larger. So you're just gonna need one. And you're also gonna need a package of dried beans. Now I ended up turning my sock inside out because I like the fuzziness of the inside of the sock. So then I'm going to place my package of beans inside of the sock, smush it down, and you'll have to play with it a little bit and get the shape that you want. But then I take some twine, wrap it around the top. The twine is also from the Dollar Tree. And I make sure that I get it really good and snug down around that package of beans. Tie a couple of really good knots. Trim off the ends. And I add a little bit more hot glue just for security. Then you're going to cut off the top of your sock, set it aside. I'm sure I'll use it on another project later. I also use some ping pong balls from the Dollar Tree. Now I like to take a piece of this scrap dowel that I have, and I place my ping pong ball on it with just a little bit of hot glue, just so that I can hold the ping pong ball and paint it without getting paint all over my hands. So I just used a little brown craft paint that I had. I wanted a brown nose on my gnome because I am making him to go with some bumblebee decor that I have. So I'm just going around and painting the nose, and I think I used 2 coats on this. So then I remove the ping pong ball carefully from the dowel and decide where I want to place the nose. And I think I went about 2 inches down from the top. But I ended up gluing my nose on, and you'll see later in the video that I decide to pull it off and apply it in a different step. So this is just a mop from the Dollar Tree. I take off the handle, and I've seen a lot of these sock gnomes done, and people have used the whole mop. That's not really the look that I was going for, so I decided to cut all the fibers off of the mop. I just cut as close to the upper rubber part as I can get, and I just trim off all of these fibers to make his beard. This was super easy, just trimming it off. Now this is where I decide to remove the nose. So I pull the nose off, which actually worked out because it left a mark where I will reapply the nose later. So it made it a little easier for me to decide where to place his beard. So now I'm just gluing the mop fibers around the top portion of his nose. And I'm just using 3 or 4 strands at a time and just working around the sides until I feel like it's where it needs to be. And there's really no right or wrong to this. You can go as far around the side as you'd like. I just basically kind of went halfway. And just applied the strands with the hot glue. And now that I have it around the gnome, I'm going to apply a second layer on top of this because I want his beard to be good and full, and it also covers up some of the black sock that was showing through. So again, just using 3-4 fibers at a time, sometimes only one, just depending on what needs to be covered. But this goes fairly quickly. I'm just being super meticulous, probably more than I need to be. So I've got almost all of the second layer on and secured down. And you'll be able to judge for yourself how much or how little you need for your beard, depending on the look that you want. So now that I have the top layer of his beard done, I'm going to go around underneath where his nose is going to go and put another layer under that. So putting the nose on and then removing it turned out to be a happy mistake because it left me with a mark showing me where to put the underneath side of the beard. And it also gave the look of the beard almost a mustache effect once I get the nose back on, and you'll see that in a minute. So I'm just applying a couple of layers of the mop fibers to the underneath side of his nose. And I just love how full his beard is. So once I have the layers done, I add another layer of hot glue just to make sure it's good and secure. So now I'm going to reapply his nose where it was before. And adding some extra glue. And this is where I was saying it kind of gave it a little mustache effect on the top portion. So now I'm opening the colored socks that I got, and I wish I could have found a yellow tube sock. It would have been a little longer, but the Dollar Tree just had the ankle socks, so I'm just going to make that work. So I'm just going to put it on like a hat would go on. And you'll have to play with it a little bit just to see how you really want yours to look. And I did pull it down pretty far in the back so that it stayed on good, because I didn't really glue my hat on because I may want to use the bottom portion of my gnome at a later time and just put a different color hat on him. So I took some more of the twine and tied it around the portion of the hat closest to the head and trimmed it off. And then I kind of stretched it out a little bit just to maybe try to give it a little more length. So then I'm just playing around with it to see how I want it to lay down. I did glue it down, but I ended up pulling it back off because I decided that I wanted to add a little bead, wood bead that I already had to the bottom portion, and that would give it a little bit of weight, and I just thought it would look really cute. So I just tied the twine around the end, left a long strand. I threaded my bead into that strand. And got it about where I wanted it to hang. And just tied 2 knots on the end to keep the bead from slipping off of the twine. Then I glued the bottom tip of the hat to the base of the hat just so it would lay exactly where I wanted it to. So he is looking so adorable, but I thought his beard was a little bit too long, so I just went in and trimmed it up a little bit, gave him a little haircut. And just following along and trimming it up. It doesn't have to be exactly even. But then I decided to untwirl each little fiber strand because that gave him a more curly bead. Now you don't have to do this if you like the way just the mop strands look on their own, but I kind of like the curly effect. So I went around, and this did take a little bit of time, but not too much. You could probably sit and watch TV and do that. So I'm finishing up the strands here, and I am just loving the way his beard looks. And he's all finished, and he just looks so cute. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any other future videos. Bye, guys.